Yeah, welcome guys to another session. Thank you so much for being here today. Happy Thursday. Today I have a Q&A about intentional time management. So my intention for this live session is for those of you who are taking my course or have taken my course, Intentional Time Management, for you to ask any questions that may arise or you may have from the course. If you have not done the course or you don't know I have a course, that's okay. You can also ask anything related to time management, anything that you would like to learn more about, any strategies, any specific situation in your life that you are encountering and maybe you want to brainstorm ideas about. I'm happy to share a little bit more about what I talk about in that course and the steps that I invite you to follow. And then I'm happy to take any questions that you guys may have. So let's start with questions. If you guys have any questions out of the bat, you can share them in the chat. And in the meantime, I can talk a little bit more about the basic steps that I followed in the course I created and the reasons why I followed that order, the reasons why I felt it was really important to follow that specific order in the steps. Okay, so while I wait for some questions to come, the main steps that I structured the course to follow are: the first step is to become aware, okay, to become aware of your current situation, to become aware of what's happening in your life, to become aware of the frustrations that you are experiencing, and to become aware of the things that you want, the things that you want to change, the things that you want to let go of, the things that you would like to do more of, things you would like to say no to. So that is the awareness piece, accepting and becoming aware of what's happening in your life right now. Okay. The second step will be to really set clear intentions, to really set intentions that allow you to feel aligned with the choices that you are making. Even though you may not know how to make them happen yet, but I think having clear intentions and visualizing a specific outcome, visualizing the way you want to feel, visualizing how you would like a situation to unfold, it's really helpful to aim for something. Okay, so that combination of acceptance, awareness, and clear intentions is going to help you to take you to the next step. That the next step will be to communicate clearly with others, to set boundaries, to say no to the things that don't fit in your life anymore, the things that you no longer want to be doing, the things that you are not interested in, and to really understand what you want and what you don't want. And then that takes us to the next step, that the next step is mental and emotional processing. This is very important. This is really important because many times we are going to face resistance. We are going to face ourselves when we are making a change, when we are trying to change habits, routines, when we are questioning the way we use our time, our energy, our space. We are going to encounter things that are going to be uncomfortable. We are going to encounter emotions, situations, choices we made that are going to make us feel uncomfortable, overwhelmed, stressed. Um, yeah, and then we have to use emotional self-regulation. That is an executive functioning skill that we all have. We have to find ways to be able to self-regulate ourselves so that we don't go to the edge of becoming overwhelmed to the point that we are paralyzed or we procrastinate forever, something that we really truly want to be doing. So that is the mental and emotional processing that is so important. And then that will take me to the next step, that's understanding your executive functioning skills, understanding how your brain works. And that is really important and eye-opening because time management is very connected with how we use our brain. And those executive functioning skills include a lot of the skills that we need to manage our time. Some of those skills are task initiation, task completion, transitioning, time management, prioritizing, emotional self-regulation, metacognition, impulse control, etc., etc. So I also have a full course on executive functioning skills, but I did include a day on this time management course that I talk and I introduce these skills to you in case you are not aware of them. Because many times the answers that you are looking for on how to manage your time better are understanding those skills better, and that will help you manage your time better. Okay. After that, the next step that I invite you to do in that course is to create your ideal week. So creating your ideal week is a very powerful exercise that will allow you to put everything that you have learned, everything that you have discovered, and your intentions into a practical, doable, day-to-day uh, schedule, day-to-day activity. How can you integrate in a day-to-day basis these things in a way that you can take action on, in a way that feels well, in a way that suits the way you like to use your energy, your time, and create a mix of activity types that fit your circadian rhythms or the rhythms that repeat every 24 hours. So that's really important. And why a week? Many people ask, why did you choose a week, not a day, not a month? Because a week is a great representation of your life. A week has 7 days. A week has 5 working days for some people and a weekend. And I always say the same thing. If there is something important that you want to see in your life, it should be reflected in your week. Uh, unless specific things that maybe happens once a year or once every few months, everything that is important to you, everything that you want it to be a habit, it should be reflected in your week, because a week can have like an overview of your life. And that is my philosophy. I try to fit in my week the things that are important to me, and I try to question how I use my week, how I create time, and this is not about packing your week full. This is about you being intentional. You can also include a lot of blank space in your week that you don't have to plan for, that you don't need to know what you are doing, and you are intentionally creating a blank space of time to just be. Maybe that's what you enjoy and you want to do more of that. So whatever that is, whatever your intention is, I want you to start integrating that in your week. And that's why I invite you to do that exercise. And that's why that week is going to be evolving with you. Okay? So those are the basic steps that I follow in my course. And I don't know if the chat is working or not. I haven't seen any questions coming up. But yeah, guys, this is your opportunity to speak up, to share, to really think about time management. The chat is working. Thank you, Becca. Yeah, so do you guys have any specific questions about time management? Because I can keep talking for 1 hour if you guys want me to, but I think it will be more relevant if you guys can share what is your relationship with time. Becca says, I notice tasks take longer than I predict. Beautiful awareness, Becca, and this is something that is very important to become aware of. We are very optimistic. We tend to estimate very poorly how long things are going to take. And that's why when I invite you to do the ideal week exercise, one of the reasons why I invite you to do that exercise is because of that. Because many times when I am helping people design their week and take action on their time management, the only way for them to become realistic and aware of how much they can do is to take everything that they say they would like to do and put it in the week. And when they see physically the week filling up and they have way more things they want to do than time available in that week, that's when they are going to start using skills like prioritization. What is most important here? How can I tweak my week so that I can reflect the things that I want to see? I don't have time to do all these things now. So what is the order? What is the sequencing? That is another executive functioning skill. What is the sequencing that I can use to make sure that I take action on these things that are important to me? Which one can I pause or put away for later? And which one do I want to do this week and next week? So that's a skill that is really important. And you will only become aware of it when you try to fit everything in a week. That's when you are going to discover that you may not be able to. Another exercise that I invite you to do with that week is to monitor your time. Monitor, do a task inventory of how long activities take you. And then when you have the reality, you are going to be able to then plan accordingly. So, for example, if you do specific tasks throughout the week, like I don't know, I cook a meal, I clean the house, I go to work and write an email. So how long do things take me? And if it's something that you repeat often, if you track your time, you are gonna know, pues writing this email, it didn't take me 5 minutes, it took me 20 minutes. So from now on, if I need to write an email of this style, I know that I need to allow for half an hour to be safe. And that way I won't be rushed. And the same with every activity that you do. That's what I would recommend you, Becca, do. Like start monitoring the things that repeat. And if you are trying to do something new that you have never done before, be generous with how much time you allow yourself, because you don't know how long it's gonna take. You are discovering that, and that is okay. That is okay. Okay. Let me see. Jeff says define impulse control. So Jeff, that is an executive functioning skill that is called impulse control. And what that executive functioning skill allows you to do is, if you have a specific outcome in mind that you would like to achieve, that impulse control is going to allow you to manage impulses that you may have that you may want to act on, but you are going to be able to create space for you to notice that that impulse is showing up. You are going to use your metacognition executive functioning skill to be present with that impulse, to really become aware of it, validate it, and then you will decide consciously if you want to act on it or not. So you are basically being present, being mindful of what's coming up for you, and instead of you doing something that you are going to regret, doing something that is not going to serve you, because you are getting caught in the emotion of whatever is coming up, you create a little bit of separation and pausing before you act on it. And that's going to allow you to stop doing things that you may regret. So if you are having an argument with someone and you have the impulse to say something that is going to be hurtful, and your goal for that conversation is to find peace and to maybe create space to think about things and maybe come back to it later, saying something that is going to be hurtful is not going to have an impact, the impact that you are looking for. By you becoming aware of that, by you controlling that impulse and not acting on it yet, just leaving space, sitting with that impulse, understanding why it's coming up, and then you deciding mindfully if you want to do something with it or not. That's the difference between you being reactive and just being triggered and reacting, not thinking about it, or you being aligned with yourself, you being grounded, and you building the capacity to sit with that impulse that may feel uncomfortable, but you just notice it and then you just sit with it, and you don't need to act immediately. You are not letting that impulse control you, you are controlling the impulse. That is the difference between that. Impulse control can show up in your life in many different ways, in many different scenarios, and it is all about combining your metacognition, your emotional self-regulation, with that impulse control. Because when that impulse is showing up, you also have to self-regulate the emotions that are showing up for you, because you are going to feel uncomfortable, you're going to feel doing something that it's uncertain, it's scary, it may be stressful, and you just have to validate that. Yeah, I'm feeling this way. Yes, I want to do this, but I'm choosing not to do it. I'm choosing to pause, even for 5 seconds, and then I will decide after. That is one definition of impulse control, and how you can make sure that you don't um, get caught in the emotion and the reaction, that maybe it's a pattern that you have been repeating over and over and over, and you are breaking that reaction to an emotion and you are being more mindful. um, so Becca says, I am late for everything all the time. I procrastinate procrastinating. I recognize I'm doing it, yet we literally watch the time go by. Everything's a rush and stressful and frustrating for all involved. This even for things, appointments I am excited about. Help. Yeah, so Becca, I feel, I sense that there is something deeper in here for you. Okay, I sense that when you find yourself being late for everything all the time, when this is a very pattern that is showing up in everything that you are doing, when you find yourself procrastinating all the time, uh, and you are feeling stressful and frustrated, uh, even with things that you are choosing to do, there is something underneath that is causing you to do that, to feel that way. And I invite you to sit with that a little bit longer, meditate on that. It's really helpful to take specific situations. The more specific they are, the better for you to really understand what's happening, to understand the stories that you tell yourself, the beliefs that are behind what you that help you act on a specific way. When you find them, question them, sit with them, validate them, accept them. And if you don't like them, if you don't think they are true anymore, that is your opportunity to start reframing them, to transform them, transform those beliefs, those stories that you are hearing in your head into something different. And in order for you to be able to do this, we are going back to executive functioning skills again. This is why it's so important to understand them. You are going to be using your metacognition skill. Metacognition is the skill that allows you to think how you think, to watch yourself, the way you act, the way you think, the patterns that are running. It's like you are separating yourself from yourself and you are seeing yourself in a movie acting, following a specific pattern. In this case, you are going to watch yourself procrastinating. You are going to watch yourself being late. And then you're going to be able to see yourself from the outside and to really understand what's triggering this, what is the story, the belief behind this, what do I get from procrastinating, what do I get from being late. Because deep inside, I promise you that there is some sort of wound, trauma, limiting belief, something that you believe unconsciously that you are benefiting from. You are keeping yourself safe somehow. It may be a defensive mechanism that you created, and it shows up being late, it shows up procrastinating. You are somehow keeping yourself safe because maybe if you take action, something may happen that you sense can be unsafe, scary, can have a huge impact on someone else. And maybe you don't know how to cope with that, how to manage that, and you rather avoid it than confront it. And sometimes it's easier to keep that pattern going, but the reality is that I don't think you want that pattern to run your life anymore. And this is the time for you to be courageous, to maybe start digging deeper into that and start acting in a different way. How that way looks like, you are the only one who knows that. But this is your opportunity to heal something, your opportunity to bring awareness to a wound, something that is inside of you that is causing this to happen. So just imagine how deep this is. We are talking about time management, but we are talking now about most likely inner child trauma, most likely any kind of trauma that happened in the past. We are talking about family systems that probably you learned, stories that people told you or you learned along your life and that you are still using them and they still run you and the way you see the world and yourself, and you are acting on them still. And this is your opportunity to question them, to see where they are coming from, to accept them, to forgive yourself and others, and to start choosing something different. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of courage, and it is not easy. But I feel that that's what you want. I feel that that's what you are choosing to do. Uh, I hope that that was helpful. Let me know if there is any specific follow-up questions that you may have. So let me see. How do you emotionally separate to focus on certain tasks? So how do you emotionally separate? So Nicole, the way for you to separate emotionally to be able to create that space that I was talking about, it's mindfulness. It's presence. It's meditation. It's being still. It's practicing self-care. It's doing something that allows you to slow down. It's doing something that allows you to Be present with whatever is present for you right now. Maybe it's uncomfortable, maybe it's stress, maybe it's overwhelmed, maybe it's a conversation you have with a person that had an impact on you, maybe it's an emotional charge that you are feeling. You are creating the space in a form that feels good to you. In my case, what works for me is solitude, is sitting in silence, is listening to a guided meditation, is practicing sports, it's juggling my balls, is riding my unicycle, is doing something that takes me away from that thinking pattern for a little bit, and then I can come back with fresh energy. It's bringing that to my men's circle. It's sharing this with my wife, sharing this with my friend, uh, with the friends that I feel can hear me and hold space for me. Um, it's maybe visiting a professional counselor if necessary. So however you create that space and that support, it's gonna look different for each of you, but it's all about slowing down. It's all about stop doing and creating more space for being and for noticing what's present, for being mindful. um, that is how you can create a little bit of time and a little bit of separation from whatever emotions are coming out for you. This is an executive functioning skill that is called, it's a combination of impulse control and emotional self-regulation. Because you are emotional self-regulation means that you become aware of the emotion that is showing up, but then you don't act on it. You stay there and you say, okay, I'm feeling so frustrated with this person. I'm feeling so frustrated with myself. I am late all the time. This sucks. And then you start going down the pattern of whatever you tell yourself or whatever you think about another person. And you need to stop that. And you need to really, okay, this is the way I'm feeling. It doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that it's going to be forever. But right now, this is what I'm feeling. And that's okay. So just breathe. Breathing is really good too. Deep breathing a few times is like really good. And silence. Silence have silence has probably majority of the answers that you are looking for. I am doing a training about healing circles. I don't know why when I came to Spain, I had to leave my men's circle for the year, and I was looking for options here in Europe, and I found healing circle, and they were doing a 3 week course, a 3 session course. And one of the things that I learned from that circle that really reiterated what I already knew is that many times the only thing that we need is silence. That's it, silence. And what you need will come to you. You don't need to do more. You don't need to think more. You just have to create space. You just have to be in silence with yourself and with others. Just silence. If you are with others, sometimes just holding space and being silent with presence, that's enough for that person to do their work. You don't have to talk all the time. So I invite you to do the same thing. Um, okay? Done is better than perfect. Yeah, done is better than perfect. Sometimes that's another executive functioning skill that it is called task completion. Before you start a task, really get clear on what does it mean for me to complete this task so that you can feel well with yourself, so that you can get it done. And then for you to be able to get it done and to create a task that it is doable, you are going to use another executive functioning skill that it is called sequencing. Okay, so sequencing is going to allow you to break down a project into a sequence of steps that make sense. So instead of you, for example, instead of me grabbing the guitar and having the intention in 10 minutes to learn a new song, if I do that, I'm gonna feel bad with myself because most likely in 10 minutes I will not learn a song. And I'm gonna feel like I failed, I didn't complete the task, this sucks, and I will maybe procrastinate uh, getting the guitar again because I don't wanna fail again. But if I sequence that project of learning a song and I break it down into specific steps of maybe I sit down for 5 minutes and I just practice the chords. Maybe I sit down 5 minutes and I just learn the lyrics. and I am not gonna learn the lyrics. I'm going to read the lyrics for 5 minutes. So all of a sudden, that task completion, the definition of what it means for me to complete that task, is completely different. And the emotions that I am going to create by me being able to complete the task is gonna be way better than if I fail at completing the task of learning a song. So it's very important for you to be aware of this. Done is better than perfect, absolutely. Uh, but you need to define, what does done mean? What does it mean? And then perfectionism is also the same thing. When you are being perfectionist, you are setting such a high standard that whatever task you are about to do is gonna be pretty much impossible to complete to that standard. So that's why many times perfectionism, it is connected with procrastination, because when you know beforehand that you're gonna fail, you most likely, to protect yourself unconsciously, you are not going to even get started, because you don't want to go into doing something that you know for sure 100% you're going to fail. So that's why redefining what it means to complete the task and coming up with a different definition that is more doable, faster, more practical, more manageable, is going to allow you to procrastinate less, to feel more excited, to feel more motivated, to take action. And this is another skill that is so important, is task initiation. Many times we get stuck not initiating a task. Sometimes perfectionism, sometimes procrastination, because deep inside we are choosing not to get started because maybe it's a scary task. Maybe it is a task that we have never done before. And maybe we are afraid of the unfamiliarity, uncertainty of that task. And instead of us seeing an opportunity to discover, to explore, for an adventure, something that we don't have an expectation on, sometimes we place a lot of expectations on ourselves, and that kills our motivation, that kills our task initiation. We will not get started. But if you redefine what it means to get started, what it means, that task, and you allow yourself the fun to just do something just because, you don't have to follow a specific standard that time. You are just discovering that task, you are learning about that task. All of a sudden, it changes the energy, it changes how you feel, it changes how you approach that task in a completely different way. So these are some of the tips about procrastination and perfectionism. And this is why it is so helpful to become aware of these executive functioning skills, so that you can look at a specific situation from so many different angles. Okay, because when it comes to time management, something that I always encounter when I'm trying to help others, and with myself too, many times I ask myself, what is the problem with this task? And many times it's an emotional self-regulation problem. Many times it is a task completion problem, like I may not know how to complete the task, and I didn't allow myself time to discover what that looks like. So I am afraid of, because I don't quite understand how to do it. So that is a how problem. Sometimes a task is sparking a lot of emotional charge, and I procrastinate because it feels uncomfortable. So that is an emotional self-regulation problem with that task. Maybe it has nothing to do with how to do it. Maybe I'm just afraid of, when I do that's going to have an impact on someone, or in order to do that, I have to have a conversation with this person, and that feels uncomfortable, so I'm going to procrastinate. That is an emotional self-regulation problem. Other times, the problem is task completion. We didn't define what we are going to be doing. We didn't set a specific deadline. We didn't define what it looks like to do and complete that task. So we have no idea what that means. So we don't get started because we will never finish it. So these are some of the angles that you can look at, right? Um, for you to be able to move forward and actually get started. Um, yeah, redefine what it means to complete the task. That's so helpful. Yeah, Laura, that is a really good way. That task completion is so important to start overcoming procrastination and perfectionism, especially those two. Um, Okay, let me see what else is in the chat. Amy says, I am between jobs and realize that without the structure of school or work, deadlines and urgency, I am having a really hard time. Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I experience in my life too, because I am self-employed, I am my own boss, and that's great. On one hand, it's amazing. I have flexibility 100%, but on the other hand, some days I wish I had someone to direct me, someone to tell me, Emilio, do this now, and tomorrow you do this, and that's it. So there is a lot of decision making fatigue when you have full control, when there is not an outside structure imposed on you. So you don't know what to follow, and all of a sudden everything becomes blurry. That is a specific great example of how creating your ideal week can be so helpful. Because when you create your ideal week, you are doing just that. If you don't have a job, if you don't have school, if you don't have outside structure, like structuring your day and your week, and you are free flowing all the time, that may work really well for some people, but it may be a big struggle for others. So this is another opportunity for you to become aware of how you deal with that structure, to become aware of what works for you and what doesn't, and to really be honest and say, I thrive with structure that someone else imposes on me, like not impose, like create it for me. I can follow something that I don't have to think about. I don't have to design. Some other people, they love designing their own week. I personally think that if you guys allow yourself the time to discover what you like, your energy cycles, you have clear intentions, and you start putting them in your week, you will create something that you are going to love. But that takes a little bit of time, and sometimes it's scary to do that. Okay, I was trying to find one of my ideal weeks, but yeah, maybe I have done many sessions about ideal week, so you can search it if you guys want to, how to design your ideal week exercise, and you can find it. Okay. um, Tina says, I am self-employed, so deadlines are important to create. So Tina, deadlines are important. Absolutely they are. If you don't set specific deadlines for things, it's very easy to procrastinate. It's very easy to just use way more time that is maybe not necessary. And there is a law that I can't remember the name of it, but it states that a specific task will take as long as you allow time for. So basically, if you have a specific task and you allow 1 month to do it, that task will take you 1 month. If you have the same task and you allow yourself a week or a day, that is how long you have to complete it. And then you are going to be able to complete it faster. So you need to find the fine balance there about what task you are trying to do, how long does it really take, are you sequencing that task in a way that fits you and your brain? So are you breaking down that task in chunks that are doable for you, in chunks that you can integrate in your week easily? So there are many different things here that you need to understand, and many times I invite you to try and test. Trying and testing the idea, that is the best way you can find out. So when you try and test an approach and a strategy, especially with time management, please don't have high expectations. Just remind yourself, I don't have to succeed. I am trying something new. It is okay if I don't get what I wanted from it, but I will get the clarity that that strategy doesn't work for me, and I will move on to the next one. So that is amazing wisdom, amazing experience that is going to help you keep progressing, keep overcoming, keep gaining clarity. That is the approach that I invite you guys to follow when it comes to time management and trying different strategies, different ways of managing your time. Okay. um, yeah, you don't have to succeed. So guys, I go back to the baby example. Okay, so baby, 8 months, 12 months old, they are learning how to walk. Like, would you say that they are failing when they are learning how to walk when they fall down? Are they failing or are they discovering? Are they learning how the balance works? Are they learning how the legs work? They are building muscles. They are building harmony in their body movement. Like they're doing a lot of things that we don't see. Laura says, I find that too much structure or too little structure causes me anxiety, confusing. Yeah, Laura, this is a great way for you to understand the relationship that we all have with structure. And this is a this is an amazing example of discovering what you want, discovering what works for you. So some people thrive having structure, a lot of structure every day, knowing what they are doing every minute. Some people they don't want that and they actually feel overwhelmed by so much structure and they need no structure. So at the end of the day, you have to find what works for you. In my week, personally, I like a mix of both. I like having structure and I like having free flow time. So my week looks like this. Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's when I do these calls, that's when I do my podcast, that's when I do one-on-one calls. If I'm supporting people, I try to fit them Tuesdays and Thursdays. And my intention for those 2 days is to have structure, to be home, to be at the office, to be supporting people, to be creating, to show up for you guys, to come up with new ideas, new sessions, schedule them. So work around all that stuff and that structure. I have to be here at 2 p.m. I have to be at my call at 12 p.m. So that's very structured. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I don't like to have structure. I try not to have appointments. I try to just wake up and say, what do I feel like today? Okay, I want to work in a coffee place. I'm going to go there. I want to go for a run. I want to go for a bicycle ride. I want to go and see a friend. I want to work on the course. Whatever comes to me, and I enjoy that flexibility. So that is an example of my relationship with structure. I like having days that are structured and I like having days that are not structured. So you have to find your balance. And the only way for you to find your balance is to discover what that looks like. And you will discover that by experiencing different things, by allowing yourself to experience what does it look like if I create structure. And then you experience it and then you feel and you are present with, wow, I feel overwhelmed, I procrastinate, I don't like this. I'm gonna try not having structure. And then how does it go? How do I do? Am I being more, uh, am I feeling better? Am I being more active? Am I managing my time better? And then you discover that. And then if it doesn't work, then you know I'm gonna create a little bit of structure, or maybe I create 3 hours of structure and then 2 hours of free flow, 3 hours of structure and 2 hours of free flow, or maybe half a day is structure and the other half of a day is free flow. You can do whatever you want. And that's why it's so important for you to test and tweak until you find what you want. Christine says, any tips for processing failure? Like when I don't execute on tasks, I sometimes think, oh well, try again next time. But should it be deeper than that? Christine, yeah, of course it can be deeper than that. You can choose what you want to do with that. Learning. I don't take that as a failure. To me, that is a learning for you. You did something that didn't work out, so what did you learn from that? And then you are going to use your metacognition executive functioning skill. That metacognition combined with your cognitive flexibility or adaptable thinking. So the metacognition is going to allow you to relive that specific experience and really understand and become aware of what happened here, why did I feel this way, what can I do next time differently. And then you are going to visualize in your head you going through the same experience in a different way. Okay, so you are like on a stage practicing for next time that happens. What is, and then you're going to use your adaptable thinking or cognitive flexibility skill to brainstorm ideas about what else can I do. So if this situation presents itself again, I don't want to repeat the same approach that I did. So what are other options that I can think of? And that's when you are going to brainstorm ideas. and maybe you will think about a different one, and then there will be one that will, your intuition will guide you to, yeah, this feels good to me, I'm gonna try this next time. And then I invite you to visualize yourself just for a minute or two in that situation, confronting the same experience, and instead of doing what you did, you visualize yourself doing that one that feels good, and then you visualize yourself that situation unfolding in a different way. And then when that happens in reality, I invite you to use your metacognition again to really reflect, how did it go? Is there anything I would like to change? Maybe it's like, wow, that approach didn't work at all. Okay, next. What is next? Or, you know what? That approach was pretty good. Maybe I will just tweak it a little bit. So tweak it. And then visualize yourself doing that experience with that tweak. And then I promise you that when you can do this exercise, when that happens in reality, your brain is going to remember. It's going to remember. And you're going to be able to be more mindful. And you're going to have already an idea of what you could do. And basically, what you are doing here is that you are becoming someone else. You are changing your patterns. You are changing the way you act, the way you think, the way you feel. But you have to rehearse that a little bit before. Because if you wait until the situation unfolds again, but you have never given it any thoughts, you will not have anything else to try, and you're going to be facing the same frustration. That's why this is emotional and mental processing, that it is so important. And it is a combination of using your metacognition, using your emotional self-regulation, using your impulse control, and using your adaptable thinking to be able to brainstorm new ideas. All those skills are working all at once in this specific scenario. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. And I will also invite you, Christine, to really think about redefining failure. Instead of you thinking, I failed at this, maybe you can say, I discovered a way that didn't work for me, or I went through an experience that it's going to teach me something that I need for the next time. Many times when we look back in the time, what was like a big failure, maybe now we think, thanks God that happened, because thanks to that event, this, and this occurred after. And now I am here because of that. So was it really a failure, or was it like a redirection that we were resisting, but it was necessary? So many times everything is very subjective, and we may see things in a specific way, but then down the road we realize like, wow, that was great that it happened that way, and it was perfect, and it happened for me, but I couldn't see it at that time. So really question, what does it mean the failure? Can I use a different word, a different word that maybe doesn't evoke as strong emotions in you? Because that would be really, really helpful. So Karen says, I discovered I love to make my project task list and put them in color, like a mind map on one page. It allows me to use my creativity and be colorful with the mundane stuff. I still have reminders, etc. in my phone. Color makes it more fun for me. Amazing, Karen. So you are discovering what works for you. Doing a mind map, doing a brain dump, all those are beautiful exercises that can be very visual, can help you gain a lot of clarity. And if you guys are interested in learning more about brain dump, mind map, and exercises like that, I have done specific sessions already that you can listen to the recordings on all those topics. Just full on 1 hour only on mind map, only on brain dump. I show you examples of my own ones. And this is a tool that I use majority of the times I'm working one-on-one with people. I will create a mind map with the things that they are telling me, a brain dump. I will connect things, and by the end of that, I will have a roadmap to follow. And it's very visual, and then you can add colors, you can add priorities, you can add a lot of things. So absolutely, adding color is wonderful. And I add a lot of color to all of my all of the things that I do. So this is my live vision that I did a few years ago, and it's still relevant for me, and it's colorful, and it's just a drawing. This is my self-care list. As you see, there is a lot of color to here. Every activity type has a different color. I have drawings, and it's more fun for me to also look at this. It's just more inspiring. And when I was creating this, I put more intention by drawing things, by visualizing things. So follow your intuition, guys. If you are a visual person, use colors, use shapes, draw things. If you are not visual, it doesn't matter. You are not failing because you are not drawing or because your notebook doesn't look beautiful. It can be just very basic too. It doesn't have to be always colorful and visual. Like you may thrive by having a bullet point list and that's it. Okay, so you don't have to have anything. There is not a right or wrong approach to time management and to the tools that you guys want to use. They will change and they will evolve with you. Just honor what you need and follow your intuition. Take action in the things that make you feel well. Okay, so guys, this is we are almost at the end of the session. I hope that you guys got value from this session. Again, this was a Q&A from my course, Intentional Time Management. If you haven't taken the course and you are interested, please join. I will support you in the course classroom at the end of every day. You have an opportunity to share in the course classroom whatever you have learned, whatever questions you may have, and I will be there to support you. And if you enjoy this session, as always, I am grateful to accept donations if you can. Uh, but my intention for today was to answer questions, to give you more clarity about time management, to inspire you to find different strategies to manage your time and your energy better, and to make it fun, to make it motivating, to make it more holistic, to say. So let me see. Yeah, ever since my accident resulting in cognitive injuries, I kept asking for maps. No one understood. Frustrating for me as I no longer had maps being visual. Thank you, Emilio. Yeah, thank you so much, Kim. And I'm sorry that you went through that experience. And in my course, Understanding Your Executive Functioning Skills, one of the days is it's all about honoring how your brain works. And especially for those of you who maybe have had a brain injury of some sort, an accident, and all of a sudden you find yourself functioning in a completely different way, not being able to do things the same way that you did them before, it can be very frustrating. But really understanding how your brain works, how you thrive, and really finding the strategies that complement your executive functioning skills that you need, they are going to create a way more enjoyable experience for you when it comes to time management, organization, and everything that has to do with managing your life. In my case, one of the things that I struggle with is working memory. Working memory is an executive functioning skill, and I don't trust my memory very much because I forget things very easily. So that's why I use a journal. That's why I have my phone. I use a calendar. And I know that if I don't write things in my calendar, if I don't write things on my to dos, I will forget them. So I know that that's how my working memory works, and I know that I thrive using those complementary strategies. So I don't beat myself up because I need that. I actually honor how my brain works, and I try to complement the things that I see that they don't thrive as much as I would like to. So I invite you to do the same, right? Yeah, be your own cheerleader and don't listen to those inner bullies. Absolutely. Just find what works for you. Keep exploring new strategies if you are frustrated. And I promise you that you are going to find ways to cope with any limitations that you may see. Um, so, how can I keep from procrastinating? So, yeah, by understanding the reasons why you procrastinate. And this is a deeper work. So, when we procrastinate, there is always an underlying reason or reasons of why we are not doing what we try to do. Sometimes it's because we don't want to do it because it really doesn't suit our lives, but we don't want to say no. So we procrastinate maybe a conversation that is going to be uncomfortable. We procrastinate the discomfort of saying no. We may procrastinate a task that we are uncertain about because maybe we have high expectations and we don't want to fail. So unconsciously, we will procrastinate to keep us safe, to protect ourselves. But in reality, we are not protecting ourselves. We are self sabotaging what we truly want to do. So sometimes we have to be courageous enough to say, I really want to do this and I don't care about the consequences. I am willing to take action on this and I will manage the consequences. I will manage any resistance. I will be okay with the unknown. I will be okay with me failing. I will be okay with me making a fool of myself, but I want to do this. It's important for me. Really accepting that and honoring that sometimes can be the difference between you procrastinating and you not procrastinating. Uh, so again, there are many ways that you can explore that procrastination. Maybe it is an emotional self-regulation piece that you are procrastinating something because that something is causing you a lot of emotional charge and you don't know what to do with it. So you procrastinate that because it's just too much, too overwhelming. So it depends on the specific situation, it depends on the specific task, and I will invite you to take the course, the time management, and take also the course understanding your executive functioning skills to keep discovering why you are procrastinating. Sometimes it's just a matter of intention, being intentional and really being honest with yourself and owning your choices. It's either you go for it or you don't go for it, but don't stay in the middle. This is like I read somewhere like ask yourself a question, and if it's a hell yeah, go for it, and if it's a hell no, stop doing it. But if you are in the middle, really choose something and go for it 100% with confidence, even though you may not know what's going to happen, but you make a choice and you own it. And that is your choice, and you will accept any consequences. It doesn't matter. But sometimes you have to choose. You have to put your energy somewhere, and staying in the middle is not going to help you achieve anything. So Becca says, I find I procrastinate because I need the adrenaline rush to get moving. Lately, the rush takes longer to generate with less sleep. Yeah, sometimes this is why sometimes deadlines work really well for some people, because if they don't have a deadline, they will never get it done. But that deadline is putting the pressure that they need to actually take action on it. So that's why sometimes setting deadlines are very helpful. Yeah, that's why sometimes having an accountability partner that can look like a friend on the other side of the phone, can look like a text message, can look like a group that may ask you about that specific thing, can be a reminder on your calendar. There are many different ways of support and accountability that you can use, and that may help some people with procrastination. Okay? Yeah, okay. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up. Really happy to see you all. I hope that this session brought you some clarity, some ideas, some motivation on how to use your time better. I hope to see you next week on Tuesday if you can come. I am moving to my new place tomorrow and throughout the weekend, so I will do the session most likely in a different location next Tuesday, and I hope I don't have to cancel it. I hope everything is good and the internet is set up. Uh, so I will see you then. Okay, you guys have an amazing weekend, and yeah, see you on Tuesday. Adios.